This episode of the Arkham Files is brought to you by Ace Chemicals, Gotham's #1 leading manufacturer of all the ingredients that you get in your beauty products that are sure to put a smile on your face.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Arkham Files, Season 2. I'm Dr. Henderson.
My name's Dr. Boose.
And today, we're going to get into the Demon's Head, Ra's al Ghul, or Raz, however you want to say it. What do you like? You like Ra's al Ghul?
Yeah. I do like him. I mean, I ain't like top 10 or anything like that. I like him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. He's not my favorite. I think really, I only know him completely from Arkham City, and Arkham Knight and the Season of Infamy.
Yeah.
But yeah. I guess we'll go ahead and get into that without wasting any further time. Dive into this case file. Ra's al Ghul is a supervillain appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics, commonly as an adversary of the superhero Batman. Created by editor Julius Schwartz, writer Dennis O'Neil, and artist Neil Adams, the character first appeared in Batman number 232's Daughter of the Demon in June of 1971. He's created by Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams, who both, sadly, I think they both passed away, if I'm not mistaken. Dennis O'Neil may not have.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Hang on, I gotta look that up. Dennis O'Neil. I think he did. Yeah, he passed away in 2020. And then Neil Adams also passed away last year, I think it was.
Gotcha.
Most notable as the leader of the League of Assassins. Ra's al Ghul's name in Arabic translates to head of the Ghul. He is the son of Sensei, the father of Talia al Ghul, Nissa Ratko, and Dusan al Ghul, and the maternal grandfather of Damian Wayne. Stories featuring Ra's al Ghul often involve the Lazarus Pits, which restores life to the dying. The Lazarus Pits have considerably prolonged Ra's life, making him particularly dangerous as he has honed his combat skills for centuries. Given his high status, he has also come into conflict with Superman and other heroes in the DC universe. Ra's al Ghul has been featured in various media adaptations. The character was portrayed by David Warner in the DC animated universe, Liam Neeson in the Dark Knight trilogy, Jason Isaacs in Batman Under the Red Hood, Bradley Baker in the Batman Arkham video game series, Matt Nable in the Arrowverse television series, and Alexander Siddig in Gotham. IGN's list of the top 100 comic book villains of all time lists Ra's as number 7.
Oh, yeah, really? Wow.
100. I don't know about that now. It's interesting.
We need to look at that list sometimes because I'm all like, it was just comic book villains of all time.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I can name 7 that I like that I think are better than Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah,
probably name 10 that are better. Anyway, yeah, I'll go ahead and go straight into the publication history here. Created by editor Julius Schwartz, writer Dennis O'Neil, and artist Neil Adams. He was introduced in Batman number 232's Daughter of the Demon. Adams discussed how he designed the character in a 2007 Wizard interview, saying, "First of all, Denny O'Neil started as a journalist, and so his experience with costume characters was always a forced experience. When the idea came to Julie Schwartz that we're kind of reviving old characters, what do we want to do for a new character? Denny's tendency, and I understood it totally, was not to go to a costume character with superpowers, but to go to a Moriarty type. When Denny presented it, here I was, a comic book artist who was used to doing fairly realistic stuff, having to deal with, hey, no costume. How do I make him unique? Because after all, we're pandering to our audience a little bit. How does he become unique? So I sort of went down the list of things that I could do that didn't offend my sensibilities as an artist and as a person that lived in the world. How do you make a person unique? And then I realized there are people that look unique, that present their personality with their physiognomy. Like Jack Palance, for example. Jack Palance is incredible to look at, this person said. I didn't really give me any information about what he was trying to go there. Character overview, real quick. Ra's al Ghul is an international criminal mastermind whose ultimate goal is a world in perfect environmental balance. He believes that the best way to achieve this balance is to eliminate most of humanity. Ra's usually tries to protect the world's human populace with a biological weapon, such as a genetically engineered virus. He's aided in this quest by the Lazarus Pits, reservoirs of rejuvenating chemicals that restore the dead and dying to life. These pits have granted him a lifespan of several centuries. He regards Batman as his worthiest opponent, addressing him as detective out of respect for his intellectual balance or brilliance, and has frequently sought to make the Dark Knight his successor. He is one of the few criminals in Batman's rogues gallery to have deduced his secret identity as Bruce Wayne, but keeps silent on the matter due to the same sense of respect for Batman. For his own part, Batman's opposition to Ra's is complicated by both his own respect for Al Ghul's genius, if not his goals and methods, and his attraction to his daughter, Talia, which she reciprocates. This is very this is the I think I could say this is probably one of the more personal villains to him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's cool too. I'd say that is one of my favorite things about Ra's al Ghul is that like I don't know. It's just I always loved the dynamic of the villain kind of respecting the hero. You know, and I don't know. Honestly, I really dig it.
Yeah, I like it. Go ahead and get in now to origin. Ra's al Ghul's real name, early life, and exact age have been described differently by various writers. His post-crisis origin story is told in the graphic novel Batman: Birth of the Demon, 1992, by Dennis O'Neil and Norm Breyfogle. The origin story is later revisited and amended in Batman Annual number 26 of 2007 by Peter Milligan and David Lopez as part of the Batman: The Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul story arc. Most recent retelling origin story, Batman and Robin, Volume 2, 23.3 in 2013 by James Tynion IV and Jeremy Hawn, references these prior iterations of Ra's al Ghul's origin while keeping common details that lead towards Ra's adoption of the moniker, or in other words, Ra's occupation as a physician, his wife's death, and the annihilation of the Sultan's city. Okay, this is probably going to be confusing since he's like immortal. As told in Birth of the Demon, Ra's al Ghul, known only as the Physician prior to adopting the moniker, was born over 600 years before his first appearance in Batman comics to a tribe of Chinese nomads settling in the desert in eastern North Africa near a city governed by a sultan. Developing an interest in the sciences at an early age, Ra's abandoned his tribe to live in the city, where he pursued life as a researcher. He subsequently became a physician and married a woman named Sora. Ra's has discovered the secret of the Lazarus Pit, and he saves a dying prince by lowering him into it. The prince, who is sadistic to begin with, is driven completely insane by the Lazarus Pit. He proceeds to strangle Sora, on whom he had already had his eye on for some time. The Sultan, unwilling to admit himself his son's culpability, declares Ra's guilty of the crime and sentences him to a slow, tortured death in a cage with Sora's corpse. Every time I read Ra's, I think, like, because, you know, it's got the little apostrophe.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking it's like, it's trying to say, like, him, like, Ra's this, like, every time I try to read it, I'm like, Ra's abandoned his tribe, but then like Ra's abandoned his tribe. Mm-hmm. It's a little difficult to read sometimes, especially when you're just going quick through it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
See, where was I? Ra's is set free by the son of a dying elderly woman who Ra's had earlier examined. The son feels that he owes Ra's a debt for easing his mother's suffering during her last few hours. Ra's and the son head into the desert to seek the tribe of Ra's birth. There we go. Ra's convinces the head of his tribe, his uncle, to follow Ra's in his quest for revenge by promising the downfall of the Sultan. By understanding the germ theory of disease hundreds of years before anyone else, Ra's is able to infect the prince with deadly virus by sending him contaminated fabrics. When the Sultan comes to ask Ra's to cure the prince again, Ra's kills both him and his son. Ra's then leads his tribe to raze the city to the ground and kill all of its inhabitants. Subsequently, Ra's declares himself Ra's al Ghul, the demon's head. And that was one origin.
Okay.
Batman: Birth of the Demon provides a rough figure of 500 years for Ra's al Ghul's age. Due to living so long, he is assumed to have lost track of how old he is. Azrael number 6 in July 1995, written by Dennis O'Neil, places Ra's age closer to 450 years. As he tells John Paul Valley, I appear to be a vigorous 50. I'm actually a very vigorous 448. Or is it 453? I lost count during the Black Plague. No matter. In Batman Annual number 25, published in 2006, Ra's al Ghul is described as a 700-year-old international terrorist. The 700-year-plus mark is used again in Batman and Robin Volume 2 in 2013, followed by issue number 30 of the same series, where over a 1,000-year time span is also described in Ra's pursuit of Themyscira. So he, like, doesn't even know his own age.
Yeah.
He's that old.
Oh, he's done it so long. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Let's see here. Using the Lazarus Pits to extend his life, Ra's spends the next several centuries journeying the world. He fights in the French Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars and becomes a formidable warrior. As the world entered the modern age and industrialization began to cover much of the earth, Ra's grew to despite the humans who he believed were destroying the world's natural beauty, thus setting him on a path of eco-terrorism. Also during this time, Ra's, his uncle, and Hugh Wei, the son who freed Ra's from the Sultan's initial execution, are all using the Lazarus Pits to prolong their lives until an incident in London. Ra's catches Hugh Wei writing his own memoirs in their original Chinese language, of which Ra's has forbidden all records. During a battle, Ra's kills Hugh Wei and flees to a Lazarus pit, which he uses. When he returns to their home in London, his uncle has vanished with the remnants of their historical records. Over time, he becomes a master of many forms of combat, notably fencing. He also builds up a vast wealth and creates the Demon, a huge international organization. According to Justice League of America first series, number 94, it has been whispered in the darkest places for 500 years that a cartel of criminals has slowly sucked its way into the rich veins of the earth. Many are its names spit from the mouths of men, but most often is it cursed only as the Demon. It has a leader, a head. Sorry if you hear a dog barking in the background. The GCPD have brought in their hounds to sniff around just in case any inmates have brought any contraband. Yeah, happens regularly. You never know what people will, you never know what people will stick up there. I'm not going to get into it. Anyway, the League of Assassins, one of the many smaller organizations making up the Demon, is thus sometimes called the Demon's Fang or Demon Fang. Ra's al Ghul's ethnic origins may be described East Asian in accordance to the birth of the Demon and the resurrection of Ra's al Ghul, and Byzantine/Eastern Roman, as addressed by Talia al Ghul in Batman Annual 26. Ra's al Ghul's Eastern Roman background is further implied in Batman and Robin Volume 2. Significance of Al Ghul's Eurasian profile is attributed to his own known paternal heritage, whilst his ambitions for world conquest is often compared and traced to the likes of Alexander the Great, an influence too shared by other family members such as Sensei, his father, Talia al Ghul, and Damian Wayne. The name Damian being derivative of Damianos, Greek for to tame. Most commonly depicted in source material with a dominant phenotype of fair complexion, Ra's has also been able to opportunistically be involved in Western world global exploits such as the Age of Exploration and the Third Reich. Oh, gosh.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Ra's al Ghul's adoptive use of Arabic monikers and the language itself was a result of Al Ghul's settlement and cultured history, both in erudition and regional pursuit of Lazarus Pit/longevity sources, most commonly unearthed throughout the greater Middle East. There's a lot of history stuff. Let me see. I lost where I was. In the Ra's Pit, blah, 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 blah. Wait, what? This case file was written poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, e.g. the Wells of Sins in the Arabian Peninsula, Red Hood and the Outlaws, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of pointless stuff. The use of Arabic monikers in particular in regards to demons is used as a scare tactic in Ra's history, promoting both his influence and reign of terror throughout the greater Middle East and his first eradication of a sultanate as described in Birth of the Demon. The same actions insinuated to have been repeated in Batman and Robin Volume 2 and direct depiction of death of the... Okay, so I have no idea what's going on with this.
Yeah.
He's the most complicated...
He's very back and forth. It's like, oh, okay.
Everything is so confusing. Aligning with Ra's al Ghul's character overview as an international environmental terrorist, in conjunction with the character's background being subject to different renditions from multiple writers, co-creator of the character, Neil Adams, has stated that the character has no specific regional/ethnic representation of any kind necessarily. He said, "We created an equal to Batman, and that's what Ra's al Ghul is all about. He's not necessarily Arabic. He's not necessarily Eastern. He's not necessarily Western. He's not necessarily anything. He's just a villain, and he's equal to Batman." Neil Adams said it on Sci-Fi Wire with Batman at 80, How to Craft the Perfect Batman Villain. Ra's does return in a story called Contagion, and let's follow-up story called Legacy, where he allies himself with Bane.
Okay.
I'm not going to really get into all this. Justice League of America Tower of Babel, which is a popular story. He discovers Batman's contingency plans for stopping the members of the Justice League of America. Should they return, and he uses them to try to destroy the group. So he uses them against them. Let's see here. That happened, yeah. Okay. Death and the Maidens 2004, we meet. We don't meet Ra's other daughter, Nyssa. And she got abandoned at a Nazi concentration camp during World War II. He abandoned her there.
Oh my God.
Prompting Ra's to contact Batman to make a deal for access to a Lazarus pit to give him strength for a final confrontation with Nyssa. Blah, blah, blah. It's too late for Nyssa stabs Ra's through the chest, through the heart, seemingly killing him for good. Batman oversees Ra's cremation to assure he dies. The resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. Talia is prompted to read the history of Ra's al Ghul to her son Damian by a mystery figure from Ra's past, the White Ghost. Unbeknownst to her, the White Ghost plans to use Damian as a vessel for Ra's return. However, mother and son escape before the plan is completed. After the escape, Batman confronts the White Ghost. He fights Batman, but accidentally falls into a Lazarus pit. As of Batman number 670, Ra's al Ghul is returned, having evaded death by transferring his consciousness into the body of another. This is some Hugo Strange stuff. Yeah, we're getting into it. Man, that dog must have really found something in there. I bet Joker brought something in. Let's see. I'm not going to go into all this. Some of it's not too. The return of Bruce Wayne. Ra's realizes that Batman has apparently died after Darkseid's invasion during Final Crisis. Good book, by the way. He confronts Nightwing, and him and Nightwing fight with swords. And Ra's returns to Gotham to begin his attack to destroy every legacy of the Wayne family. He makes a pact with Hush as part of his plans. Ra's fights Tim Drake, and he refers to Tim Drake as detective. Bruce Wayne returns. Ra's muses that his next confrontation with the detective will be particularly interesting, as he believes that Batman has at last had a taste of the immortality that Ra's himself enjoys. He almost kills Vicky Vale, and that's that. All right, New 52. There we go. In the New 52, 2011 reboot of the DC Universe, Ra's al Ghul appears in a hooded robe of the League of Assassins city of Alphabon. He enters the Well of Sins after an encounter with Jason Todd. Gotham Knights flashbacks. When he emerges, Ra's is consumed by the evil that corrupted the entitled centuries before, and he feels compelled to rid himself of the machinations of his daughter and Dukra by killing Jason. At Ra's command, the prisoners are brought to him, and he promises to use his newfound power to destroy them. Red Hood engages Ra's as Essence joins the battle. She insists that he will allow Jason and his friends to leave his realm, or he will be forced to die a mortal death, just as he always feared he would. Despite having destroyed the All Castle, Ra's al Ghul's actions have led to their eventual rebirth. Defeated, he swears that he will visit great agony upon Red Hood if he ever sees him again. Batman and Aquaman head to an island where the League of Assassins are located after Ra's has the bodies of Damian Wayne and Talia exhumed. Ra's has ordered the hunt of whales, creating genetically altered superhumans and wombs of sperm whales, part of a plan to rebuild the League of Assassins. Inside the compound, they find that Ra's is wiping the hard drives clean, preventing data recovery. As his parting gift, he has left Batman the heretics to keep him entertained. Batman fights his way to Ra's escape craft. He sees Talia and Damian's bodies stored within it and clings to the fuselage from outside as the plane takes off. Through Ra's plans to go to Paradise Island, he is nearly surprised to see Batman pounding on the cockpit's windshield. From outside, Batman screams for Ra's al Ghul to give back his son, and Ra's responds that he is blood of Damian's blood, and the boy is in good hands. He orders the plane to tilt its angle, causing the wind shear to rip Batman from his perch and drop down into the sea, where he's caught by Aquaman. It's a lot of stuff. I'm going to skip this one part right here. It's not really important. During Batman Eternal, Bruce briefly speculates that Ra's is the mastermind behind most of the attacks against him that have left Wayne Enterprises bankrupt and Batman pushed to the limit. However, when he confronts Ra's, his foe reveals that while he was invited to participate in the attack by the true mastermind, he rejected the offer, as Ra's would prefer to destroy Batman when the Dark Knight believes that his legacy will be as eternal as Ra's, rather than tear him down in such a manner. And that was New 52. And real quick, DC Rebirth. During DC Rebirth, Ra's al Ghul is featured in Detective Comics number 953 through 956 as part of the League of Shadows story arc, which runs from issues 951 to 956. Ra's al Ghul appears in Dark Knight's Metal issue number 2 as a member of the Immortals, a group formed by the oldest beings in the multiverse. He participates in a discussion on how they will fight the Dark Multiverse invasion. And that's that.
Oh, okay.
It's very complicated. But he's interesting. He's an interesting hero. Villain.
You know, I don't know if I'm wrong here. I mean, this might be. I think this is the most complicated one we've seen.
I think so. Yeah.
I thought so. Strange took the cake. This is really out there.
It is. Yeah, that's that part of the case file. But right here we have the 10 things that DC Comics wants you to forget about Ra's al Ghul.
So I'm guessing like the worst things done, or really?
Yeah, he met Talia's mother at Woodstock.
Yeah, no way.
Yep. Wow. He had not as much known about Talia's origin, except her mother was a woman called Melisande. I don't know, and that Ra's met her while at Woodstock. That's right. It says the megalomaniac leader of an international organization of assassins was a peace-loving hippie back in the 1960s. It makes him a lot harder to take seriously as a threat when you can also imagine Ra's strutting around in a paisley shirt and whipping up a batch of special brownies for everyone else in the camper van during the summer of love. Oh, gosh. That's, wow.
That was a good start. Oh, my God.
Let's see what's next.
That's great.
Oh, I got to hit next. Okay. He lost a sword fight to Green Arrow. That did happen in Arrow season 3, the show.
Oh.
Yeah. He did kill Arrow at one point, and they brought him back to life.
The Lazarus Pit, I'm guessing.
There was they brought him back to life, or he didn't die. I don't remember. Some people found him, and they had to like store him in ice or like help. I don't know. I don't think he died. Now I think about it, but it was crazy though. He did. Ra's al Ghul challenged him to a fight, and he stabs him, and it was like a crazy moment. I was like, whoa! He knocks him off a cliff.
Yeah. Okay.
That happened. He was jealous of Batman for being a better father at one point. He fights him. He sends ninjas to kill him. Instead of sending ninjas to kill him, sorry, he tries to drive a wedge between the two, Batman and his son, by convincing Nightwing that Batman hated him and sabotaging Bruce's attempts at adoption. So he's mad.
That's pretty much. How dare you?
Another one.
It'd be better than me.
He abandoned one of his daughters in a concentration camp. We talked about that.
Yeah.
He poisoned Kingpin's wife. Hold on. Oh, interesting. Okay, bringing in some Marvel here. Okay. Now, they may seem like bitter rivals now. Marvel and DC used to be on amicable enough terms that the universes would occasionally cross over. One such crossover was Batman and Spider-Man, New Age Dawning. In the story, Ra's al Ghul... That's a thing. I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah.
I'd love to read that. In the story, Ra's al Ghul planned to wipe out New York City by sea and ocean. As part of the plan... One. Yeah, where was I at? Here. In the story, Ra's al Ghul planned to wipe out New York, as a part of the plan, he gave Kingpin's wife cancer and forced Fisk to work with him in exchange for a cure. Kingpin then almost immediately betrayed Ra's because cancer is not a great tool for keeping a workforce more motivated. Fisk helped Spider-Man and Batman sneak aboard his plane so that they could stop Ra's plan and save the city. Before defeated, Ra's left. Before he went, though, he told Fisk that he had lied about having a cure for cancer. However, it turned out Ra's was just continuing his trend of trying to ruin people's lives for fun. Later, Talia handed the actual cure over to the heroes. Sadly, for Marvel and DC now wrapped up in much larger and competitive companies, these kinds of friendly crossovers seem unlikely to happen again, and DC would rather you forget they ever existed, although they're nothing compared to the next entry.
Oh, God. Well, I guess it's going to get like really bad here.
I guess he was amalgamated. What? Oh, the Amalgam Comics. You know that? Heard of that, right? You know, DC and Marvel combine their characters, and so you have like.
Oh, is that like Dark Claw? Like with Batman?
Dark. Yeah.
Yes.
And Lobo the Duck.
Yeah.
In 1996, Marvel and DC published DC versus Marvel, a crossover book in which powerful beings from each universe had their respective characters battle, see who was best, and it led to Amalgam Comics. And one such comic was Dark Claw, a combination of two most brooding vigilantes in comics, Batman and Wolverine, to make even more brooding vigilante who was 90% Scowl. Logan Wayne was the son of a pair of wealthy socialites who saw both his parents gunned down by a mugger, and then also discovered he was a mutant and had adamantium bonded to a skeleton, and it wasn't exactly a seamless join. Of course, Dark Claw needed enemies. One of the most obvious choices was to combine DC's near-immortal genocidal mastermind Ra's al Ghul with Marvel's near-immortal genocidal mastermind Apocalypse. And what did they name this new character? Was it something like Genocide? Or maybe Armageddon? No. They named him Ra's Apocalypse.
You serious?
Yes.
Ra's Apocalypse.
Awful names aside, though, the Amalgam universe was actually pretty fun while it lasted. He looks really stupid.
He doesn't look cool?
No, he looks stupid. He stole a man's brain at one point. Talia offered, the man she took. Okay, I'm just going to read through it. The Dark Knight was called in by Commissioner Gordon to help solve the case of a scientist who had been murdered and had his brain removed. While on the killer's trail, he bumps into Talia, who took him right to the culprit. The man she took him to confessed to the crime, but didn't seem to know anything about the brain removal. Talia offered to help by injecting him with truth serum, but accidentally gave the man the wrong serum and killed him. Batman wasn't fooled since he's the world's greatest detective and also not a 5-year-old. He tracked down Ra's and found him with the professor's brain hooked up to a machine that allowed it to talk. It turned out this whole thing was so that Ra's could interrogate the professor about work he was doing for the U.S. government. Somehow Ra's thought this elaborate plan was easier than just kidnapping the man and asking him the questions. Anyway, the story ended with Ra's and Talia fleeing and the brain tricking Batman into flipping a switch that killed it, causing Batman to break his rule against killing for only about the 70th time. He dated Black Canary.
He did?
Yep. The rich She had been seeing a rich older man, and Barbara Gordon was worried that something wasn't quite right. The rich older man turned out to be Ra's al Ghul, a man old enough to be Laurel's something that would fill up the rest of this entry with the word great. Ra's was masquerading as a count and wanted to seduce Black Canary into marrying him and joining the League of Assassins. Oracle arrived. Ra's tried to change her mind when she found out by kidnapping her and taking her to the Lazarus Pit. He intended to use the pit to destroy her mind and make her more compliant. Oracle arrived to stop Ra's, but in the ensuing battle, Laurel was injured. Barbara put her in the pit to save her, and as a side effect, Black Canary regained her iconic canary cry.
Okay. I was like, dang, they're over or something? Dang.
This next one.
Hero dates his woman.
This next one. He tried to seduce Batman, disguised as his own daughter.
Oh my gosh.
Batman Beyond, also called Batman of the Future. Imagine a new Batman taking up the mantle in a cyberpunk future under the guidance of an elderly Bruce Wayne. The series saw the return of several classic Batman villains, including Mr. Freeze, the Joker, and one super creepy episode, Ra's al Ghul. In an episode Out of the Past, a seemingly unaged Talia appears in the Batcave. It was revealed that before he retired, Bruce had one last confrontation with Ra's. In that fight, Talia betrayed her father and sided with Batman, and Ra's was mortally wounded. Talia explained that his injuries were too much for even the Lazarus Pit to fix, and Ra's had died. She had returned to offer Bruce a chance to use the pit himself and restore his youth so they could be together forever. It turned out to be a trick, though. Before he died, Ra's had built a device that allowed him to transfer his mind into Talia's body, killing her in the process. He intended to do the same thing to Bruce until his youth was restored, and impersonating his son, take over Wayne Enterprises. Knowing that, it's pretty icky to hear Ra's in Talia's body call Batman beloved.
Ugh.
And number one is a hypocrite.
What? That's the worst?
So he's all about saving the environment, right? Humans are destroying the environment. He wants to save it.
Yeah.
But he is also the one that instructed the League of Assassins to birth, keep little mutants inside of the stomachs of sperm whales.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that happened. And that are the top 10 things that DC wants you to forget about Ra's al Ghul.
I wish I forgot.
Me too. And that closes out the case file.
This has to be the strangest one of them all.
It is, and I feel like it's going to get stranger in 2 episodes when we do our puppet guy that we're doing. I know, I just feel like something. I'm not going to say who it is until next episode, but I'll go ahead and tell you who is next episode. Let me pull it up here so I know I'm correct. Yes. Talked about the Joker. So a better thing to talk about next than Harley Quinn. So we're doing next.
Awesome.
Harley Quinn, and then after Harley Quinn, Puppet Man.
Puppet Man. I know Harley Quinn's going to do really well. That's a lot of people's favorite. So that's
and next episode we'll be halfway through this season.
Yeah,
we'll be almost done. Yeah. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, and I guess we'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
See ya.